Good evening, students. Today we'll see the laws in physiology. So what are the laws? Number one law is law of projection. So this you will talk in sensory system. So wherever wherever the part of sensory pathway that is stimulated, the conscious sensation is perceived from the location of the receptor. So that is called a law of projection. And second is Bell-Megendie law. That is, in spinal cord, the dorsal root is sensory in function and the ventral root is motor in function. And we have another law that is in the receptor properties, that is Wegener-Fechner law, which states that the magnitude of sensation felt is directly proportional to the log of intensity of the stimulus. That is, if the response given by the receptor is to be doubled, the strength of the stimuli to be increased by 10 times. Now you remember for the heart. So in the heart you have the Frank-Starling law, which states that the force of contraction is directly proportional to the initial length of the muscle fiber within physiological limits. And here you remember the blood. So in the blood we have one law, that is Landsteiner law. That is, if a particular agglutinogen is present in the RBC, the corresponding agglutinin is absent in the plasma. In other words, if a particular agglutinin is absent in the plasma, the corresponding agglutinogen will be present in the RBC. And remember the intestine. In the intestine we have the law of gut, which states that the peristalsis occurs in a one-way direction from oral to aboral direction. Then remember in the lungs you have one law called Laplace law. In Laplace law is applicable for any spherical structure. In the lungs it is applicable for alveoli. That is, the pressure in the alveoli is directly proportional to the surface tension, twice the surface tension, and inversely proportional to the radius of the alveoli. That is, pressure is directly proportional to 2T by R. Okay. And in the lungs you remember the Fick's law of diffusion. So the rate of diffusion is directly proportional to the cross-sectional area of the membrane. Here the alveolar capillary membrane, and the concentration difference or concentration gradient of the gas between the alveoli and the capillary, and inversely proportional to the thickness of the membrane. So this is Fick's law of diffusion.